Yo, so we're back, and this week it's for UFC 230, but I'm going to go back and talk about UFC Moncton real fast, and it's a pretty good event. We did pretty good on it. We hit on the Parlay of the week, and in my opinion, I actually, I was kind of mad about this over the weekend, because I thought the most confident pick should definitely hit. I really thought that the ref should have stopped that fight for Nasrat, and I actually lost some money on that myself, so a little bit annoyed about that, but, whatever, they didn't stop the fight, so the most confident pick didn't hit last week, but we did bounce back, hit the parlay of the week, and had a pretty good night overall. The first fight of the night was Yesin Ayari against Stephen Ray, and, to be honest, I really thought that Ayari won this fight. I thought he won 30-27. I mean, they were close rounds. You could argue it was 29-28, but I thought it was kind of a clear robbery, in my opinion. I thought that Ayari was able to land the cleaner shots, and I thought he was able to move, make Stevie Ray miss, and I thought he won that fight, but, big fight for Stevie Ray, gets to stay in the UFC, and he was saying he was going to retire if he got cut, so big win for him there. He gets to keep his UFC career alive, keep his MMA career alive, and up next, the next fight was Arjun Buller against Marcelo Gome, and this was a pretty interesting fight. This was one half of the parlay of the week, and Marcelo Gome was able to get it done. The first round, he did a good job keeping heavy pressure, walking him down. Did the same thing in the second round where I actually thought that Marcelo Gome won the second round, but then the third round, very, very good round for Arjun Buller. It looked like Marcelo Gome might have had a broken foot or an injury to his foot, so that definitely helped Buller, but once Buller was able to get it to the ground, it was total dominance from him. Gome couldn't get up. Buller really dominated the fight, and big win for Arjun Buller. And for Marcelo Gome, I think he'll bounce back. I think both those guys are two pretty good heavyweight fighters for sure. And up next we have Don Madge against T. Edwards, and man, Don Madge came onto the scene with a big KO, man. I mean, that was a big upset. He was like a plus 500 underdog, and he floored T. Edwards pretty quickly in that second round. And first round he was really, really nice too. First round he dropped T. Edwards. He had him in a pretty nice armbar, was really dominating the fight. Then the second round he knocked him out with that head kick, and Don Madge looks like a problem for sure. He really announced himself, and interested to see who he takes up next. And for T. Edwards, that was a big loss, big learning lesson. Seemed like he came in with no respect for the striking in Don Madge, and he got caught, man. He got clipped, and after that, the fight was really over. So, tough fight for T. Edwards, but I'm sure he'll bounce back. He's a great athlete, has a lot of power. So, I'm next here, Toledo Bernardo against Sarah Moras, and, this was an upset pick, and Toledo pulled through for us. She got the big win, and kind of exactly what I thought was going to happen. I thought she was going to be able to get her body locks, get her takedowns, and then control the ground, and didn't think Sarah was going to be able to get up, and that's really basically all that happened. Toledo actually showed some improved striking. Actually, in my opinion, she showed some nice kicks, and she looked pretty good out there. So good win out there for Toledo, and for Sarah Morris, tough loss, but I actually thought she looked a bit improved. And, we'll see what happens in the next fight with this move to Extreme Couture. So, up next, Calvin Kattar against Chris Fishgold. And, wow, man, Calvin Kattar re-announces himself as a future contender. And just floored Chris Fishgold in that first round. Really dominant performance. Fishgold came out fast. He was trying to get the takedown. I think he might have even got the takedown at one point. But didn't really get any control. He went for a guillotine as well. He had some moments, but once Kattar found his, really started picking him apart. Nasty uppercut, really nasty finish, and just a great right hand that knocked him down. And Calvin Kattar's a beast, man. I mean, that guy's one of the best fighters in the division, and very curious to see where he goes from here. And up next, Nasrat against Thibault Gouti. Nasrat gave Thibault a pretty bad beatdown, especially in that third round when he hurt him to the body. He was literally chasing him around. T-Ball was falling on his face. I mean, I thought for sure they were going to stop that fight, but, Nasrat got some experience. He had to go all three rounds, and, T-Ball showed some toughness, and we're going to see what happens for Nasrat from here. I mean, you should definitely get a big step of competition after that fight, and we'll see what happens. For Gouti, I think he'll probably be cut after that performance, and after being, I think he's 1-5 in the UFC, so. Sean Strickland against Nordine Taleb, that was a pretty fun fight. Sean Strickland put him out, and big win for Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland's one of these guys that's been on the cusp of the top 15, top 10 for years and years now, and, that was really one of them. That was a marquee performance, probably one of his best performances in the UFC. He went for it, he got the finish, and, it might have been a little bit early, but I definitely think that he would have finished the fight, and, big win for Sean Strickland there, and he did a great job. finding his range and then putting Taleb out. So we're going to see what happens with Sean Strickland from here on out. And for Nordine Taleb, he's lost 2 in a row now. He's 37 years old. So we're going to see if he can bounce back here. But it seems like maybe his best days are behind him there. And I'm next at Court McGee against Alex Garcia. And Court McGee did exactly what I thought he was going to do. He came in there, he got the upset win against Alex Garcia. And he got it through pressure, through getting takedowns, through dominating. And, he just took down Alex Garcia. He wanted it more, and he wore him out, man. And a big win for Court McGee. That's his first win in a while now. And, he's been getting screwed over, or, been in these close decisions where with Sean Strickland, they even called it a draw, then went back, changed it to a loss. Ben Saunders, I actually thought he won that fight. So some interesting fights are still left for Court McGee, excuse me. And, we're going to see what happens there. And for Alex Garcia, he just continues to disappoint, man. Looks like he's never really going to reach that potential, and he just is what he is, And John Vannata against Ed Herman, I mean, not really much to say about this fight. Split decision win for John Vannata. Congratulations, John Vannata. He's the first fighter in UFC history with 4 straight split decisions. I mean, I don't know what to say, man. I mean, that guy is just not a good fighter. Neither is Ed Herman. I mean, John Vannata looked like he was about to fall over from exhaustion at certain points. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what these guys come up next, but not very impressed with either guy, to be honest with you. And I'm next to Andrei Sukumtat against Jonathan Martinez, and pretty fun fight. Andrei Sukumtat once again, showed why he's such a frustrating guy. He flashed that nasty striking ability. He was mixing levels, going body head, changing it up. And then he showed some very poor fight IQ, trying to engage in the grappling. He would hurt him on the feet, then clinch for takedowns. I mean, just not the greatest fight IQ, and he made that fight very iffy, and Martinez was almost able to get the win in that fight. So, I just don't think Andrei Sukumtat has the fight IQ to contend at the top of the division, but he's a freak athlete, or not a freak athlete, but he's a very good athlete. And a very good striker, and he could definitely give a lot of lower level guys problems and finish a lot of guys. So he's dangerous, and I was pretty impressed with Jonathan Martinez. He's going to go down to 125 if they keep the division, I guess. I don't really know about that anymore. And if he does, and I don't think he has any quit in him. He definitely is able to take a shot and come back, and I think he could do well at 125. And up next, Misha Serkinov against Patrick Cummings, and this was a brilliant performance by Misha, man. Just a special performance, in my opinion. Really showed the work he's been doing over at Extreme Couture, and just really dominant performance. Showed some extreme strength in that position, defending the takedown. And, once he got Cummings to the ground, immediately went for that arm triangle, and got it pretty quickly. Pretty dominant performance. He's the first person to submit Pat Cummings, and a great win for Misha Serkinov. And for Patrick Cummings, I don't know. He's going to have to come back and try to reassert himself in that top 15. And up next, Michael Johnson gets Artem Lobov. I don't know, kind of what I thought. Michael Johnson was on the outside, landing shots. Really the whole fight. Artem was pressing forward, not really landing much, not really doing much of anything. And then finally in that third round, Michael Johnson really started to find his range, find his groove. He was moving in and out, just beating the shit out of Artem. And Artem was a nice little punching bag for Michael Johnson, nice sparring partner for him on the night, and Michael got some good work in, and Artem thought he won the fight, which I don't know how you could think he won that fight, but we'll see what happens. We'll see if the UFC keeps Artem again. We'll see if they finally decide to part ways with him, or we'll see exactly what happens. Or we'll see him be cut. He'd probably go to Bellator. He could find another job. Who knows, but. For Michael Johnson, good win. He got another win at 145, and he's back-to-back wins now, so he's slowly coming back from that bad run that he had previously. In the main event, Anthony Smith against Volkan Ozdemir. Like I said, fun fight, back and forth. Big win for Anthony Smith, but, to be honest, wasn't very impressed in terms of... I was impressed, don't get me wrong, I'm sorry. That's probably not the good verbiage to use. I was impressed, but I don't think that he gives problems to the higher level fighters in the division like Gustafsson, John Jones, DC. I just don't think he gives those guys trouble. I think even guys like Corey Anderson would mop the floor with them. So, I don't know. I mean, I think it was a great performance, but I thought Volkan, he didn't really look that great, man. I thought that he wasn't pressing like he usually did, and I thought that if he really would have went for it in those early rounds, he potentially could have got the finish, but, Anthony Smith proved that he's a gritty guy like he always is. He came back, he got the submission in the third round, and props to him. We'll see where he goes from here. For Volkan, that's a tough loss, but he's still in the mix. He's obviously always going to be live in that 205-pound division. So, he's still always going to be around the top over there, and I'm sure he'll come back and get some wins. But now we're going to move on to UFC 230. And the first fight of the night I have here is Sijara Eubanks against Roxanne Modafferi. And, this is a rematch of a fight that happened on Tough pretty recently. Eubanks won via decision. It was a pretty close fight in my opinion. And Eubanks recently has gone through kind of a whirlwind of emotions lately. She got a title shot, then she didn't have a title shot, then she wasn't fighting at all. Then she finally settled for this Roxanne fight on the prelims. So, I'm sure she feels disrespected, fired up, and she's ready to make a statement for this fight. And for Roxanne, she's coming off a win in a rematch of a fight she previously lost against Barb Hochek. So she's definitely riding the high. And, Roxy's had 3 rematches of fights that she's lost previously, like this fight with Sijara, and she's won all 3. So that shows that she definitely is able to persevere through that mental block that some people think that if you have a win over a fighter that you're going to have a mental advantage. Roxy doesn't let that get to her head, and she's came back and she's won all 3 of the fights that she's previously lost. That's a good thing for Roxanne. And, Roxanne's awkward on the feet. She isn't very athletic. She's pretty stiff and slow with her movements, but she's got a better accentuated reach. She makes her punches long. She doesn't loop them as much. Solid jab, good head movement, improved lateral movement, good straight punches. Sometimes she struggles to find range. She'll throw an air a bit, but she has okay hand speed. She'll throw the straight right hand. She'll throw inside leg kicks, high kicks. She will try to be tricky. She'll throw some question mark kicks, some spinning back fists. She tries to keep that volume high. She'll throw a lot of shots, a lot of combinations. She definitely doesn't have knockout power, but she has a strong chin, and she lives up to her nickname of the Happy Warrior. She'll walk forward, take shots, keep coming, and she's only been finished twice in her very long career. She doesn't have great takedown defense, but she's good off her back. She has good arm bars, triangles, very active with the elbows. She can't get hit with ground and pound, but she's gotten better at, controlling posture, not letting herself get beat up. And she has gotten better at edges to her judo trip takedowns and clinch takedowns. She also got a nice double leg against Barb, and it was pretty good timing on it. She also had a good reversal of a takedown, ended up on top of that fight as well. But she has been bullied in the clinch previously against girls like Emily Whitmire, Nico Montano, and she was taken down by Sijara multiple times. She's good in the scrambles. She gets on top. She will land hard, heavy elbows. And she's one of the best finishers in that 125 division on top. She probably has the best mount in the division. And when she gets there, she has phenomenal control. She'll throw hard punches, hard elbows. And she finished a lot of her recent fights that way. She can't get an armbar or a rear naked choke, but she does slow down as the fight goes on. But she does have decent cardio. She knows how to push through. She's a veteran. And she's finished her last 4 wins, and she's lost her last 3 fights by decision. So she finishes a lot of her fights via submission or ground and pound. And she's finished 12 of her 22 wins. She's been submitted 3 times in her career, and this is a huge fight for both girls. With the win here, either one will be right there for a title shot. And I see Roxy wanted to keep this fight on the feet. She's a better range striker than Eubanks. And, she was winning the striking exchanges in their first fight. And the only problem is she's going to need to keep Eubanks off her, and I'm not sure she has the power to do that. So, maybe late takedowns may be a smart thing to do if Eubanks starts pressuring heavy. And, if she gets put on her back, I think she should try to initially sweep or look for, a quick submission. But if she can't get it, work to stand back up. And the key to victory for Roxanne, in my opinion, is volume and range striking, keeping her distance, landing, not getting hit, and not letting Eubanks take her to the ground. So that's kind of the path to victory for Roxanne. For Eubanks, she's a big, powerful girl. She tries to use that to her advantage in her fight. She's a jiu-jitsu black belt. And that's her game plan in every fight. Get the fight to the ground, look for ground and pound, look for submissions. But she showed some major improvements on her feet in her last fight. She'd be pretty slow, pretty robotic. She would walk forward. She didn't have a lot of head movement, a lot of feinting. In her recent fight, she was showing some better defense. She was faking. She was moving her head. She was throwing some different combinations. She was closing distance with some explosive hooks. She threw some nice uppercuts, sitting down, throwing with more power. And, she wasn't closing her eyes. She wasn't just winging shots. She was getting a little bit more comfortable on the feet. And nice leg kicks. She got a pretty nasty head kick KO on Tough. And she does have 3 KO, 2 KOs in her 6 wins. So she definitely has some power on her. and she's never been finished with strikes, and she's a tough girl. She'll continue to press forward, and I think you have to put her out, or, put her to sleep or snap something to get her to finish the fight. She definitely is someone with a lot of perseverance. She has a good double leg, good timing on her entries, good job of chain wrestling. She'll use the double to drive her opponents to the cage, and she'll go for singles. She'll change levels, go back up top, and she just kind of chain wrestles until she can find a takedown. She is uncomfortable with the striking at times, and she'll shoot from too far out, which can make her susceptible to being, taken down herself or put on her back herself. But she's very heavy on top. She throws hard elbows. She's a black belt jiu-jitsu. But she wasn't able to do much against Modafferi on top of their first match. But she has good cardio. She can keep a strong pace for all 3 rounds. She only has 1 submission herself. She isn't a big submission threat. But, I think she has the speed advantage on the feet, but she has to figure out how to get inside. If she can get her boxing combinations going, I see her getting takedowns and being able to win the fight. But this is a pretty close fight in my opinion. The line may be a bit off. Eubanks has the speed and power advantage, and probably even the wrestling advantage. But she has to be able to get inside of Roxanne. And Roxanne will win with volume, I think, if she keeps Eubanks on the outside. But I think that Eubanks, on top is actually much less dangerous than Roxanne, but she has a better way of getting there. Her wrestling is much better. And I think that, Eubanks is less weathered than May. She's the better athlete. She's going to be pumped to prove a point here. And I think that she's going to be able to get inside, land some flashy combinations, maybe hurt Roxanne on the feet even, and get her takedowns, win the fight, kind of just use her physicality, use her athleticism, and take a decision against Roxanne. And I think that she should be able to get the victory there. And up next, we have a really fun fight. This is a fight that pits like one of the young prospects in MMA against a hard-nosed veteran. And it's Montel Jackson against Brian Kelleher. And, Montel Jackson's taking this fight on short notice, but I've noticed on his social media he's been working all the way through. He just fought in August, and I've actually contacted him. I talked to him. I talked to his one of his coaches as well, and they said that he's in great shape. He's ready to go, so I don't think the short notice is going to be a big factor in this fight. And Montel Jackson, he's a physical freak, man. He's a bit of a phenom. He's a bantamweight. He has a 75-inch reach. His hands are bigger than Francis Ngannou's, so it's a little bit of an anomaly. He's blazing fast, nasty kicks, good knees, good straight punches. He's very good in distance. He's a southpaw, very good jab, very good straight left hand. Great job hand fighting with his front hand, then coming over the top with the straight left hand, straight or overhand left. He's very accurate with his punches. He has big power. Great distance control. Does a great job sliding in and out of range, countering with long-range attacks. Great front knees to the body and to the head. And you also attack with lightning-fast front kicks to the body. He'll go to the head with them as well. Nice round kicks. He'll go to the head, to the body. And his kicks come fast without telegraph. And he's definitely at his best when he's coming forward, stalking his opponents, staying in space. And he's very accurate. He's extremely dangerous. But, he should have some more output in future fights. He can get out-volumed. And when fighters close the distance, make him go backwards. Against Ricky Simone, I still thought that he was definitely dominating the striking exchanges every time, but he was allowing Ricky Simone to close the distance to take him down, and I've seen him do that, have that problem in other fights. But, he has very good defense on the feet. He rarely gets hit clean, and he has a calmness about him. He's always very aware. He's in the moment. He doesn't get tired. He's able to be just as effective with his striking in round 1 as round 3. And he's going to be significantly faster in this fight at range than Kelleher. And I think that as long as they stay at a distance, he's going to give Kelleher some major problems. And Jackson's a great grappler as well. He's a great wrestler. He was trained to wrestle in the Olympics before transitioning to MMA. And he does a great job getting in the clinch, circling to the back. He'll get big explosive slam takedowns. He also has very good high crotch slams, very good grip strength. He's able to control the wrist in the clinch. He was able to control Ricky Simone's wrist at space with one hand while punching, which I've never seen in a fight. That was very interesting. He has very good takedown defense. He's hard to take down and hold down. Great job shucking off attempts, limp legging out of single legs. Very good hips. He's extremely long. It makes him super hard to take down in the clinch. He can get taken down, though, with well-timed double legs, good body locks. And he was grinded out by one of the best fighters, in my opinion, in the 135-pound division in Ricky Simone. But, that's nothing to be ashamed of. And he was able to reverse several takedowns. He was even able to get on top of Ricky Simone. And he defended a large majority of Simone's takedowns. And Simone is a much better takedown fighter than Brian Kelleher. Jackson is very explosive. He's able to change position very quickly on top. His wrist control makes it hard for opponents to get damage off on him as well. And you should look to deny the takedown attempts that I think Kelleher will attempt and work a striking game, And I believe Kelleher can't take him down. And if he's forced to strike with Jackson, Jackson has a decent chance of getting a finish, actually, in my opinion. And Brian Kelleher, he's been up and down in his UFC tenure, but he's always ready to throw down. He's always exciting. He's coming off a pretty brutal knockout loss out at the hand of John Lineker, and he's going to be looking to bounce back here with the win in his home state. And Kelleher's been an overachiever in his career. He's had a slow start, but he made a name for himself when he beat some legends of the sport, Renan Barão, Yuri Alcantara, so you can't take anything away from him. And he's very aggressive. He has good forward pressure. He does a great job of staying in his opponent's faces, not giving him a chance to breathe. He has a good jab. He likes to throw a jab leg kick or jab body kick combo. He has a good long right hook. He does a good job landing it when his opponents are trying to circle away. He has a good left hook in the pocket. He does a good job throwing and moving his head off center line. And he has a good front kick to the body, nice uppercut. Definitely throws full power on his hooks. He'll throw a nice right hook, full power, throw a spinning back fist, and then he'll throw the right hook right off the spinning back fist when his opponents try to rest a little bit. Definitely his cardio is something that he uses as a weapon. He keeps a tremendous pace, stays in his opponent's face, and he's shown a great chin over his career, but he was brutally knocked out in a war against John Lineker. But he does seem confident he's ready to get back on the horse, but you have to wonder how that fight will affect him going forward. He does have some decent pop in his shots. He has 7 career knockouts, and he's strong in the clinch. He does a good job digging underhooks, landing knees, short shots. He has good control in the clinch. He can bank time against the fence, but he isn't a great wrestler. But he will grind for doubles against the cage. I mean, he's only 4 for 14 on takedown attempts in his UFC career. But he has good takedown defense himself. He has a great guillotine. He'll attack with that guillotine whenever someone tries to take him down. And he does a great job wrapping up the neck, rolling in a mount. And he keeps that dominant position even if he can't finish the choke. He was able to get Yuri Alcantara on the guillotine in his UFC debut. But off of his back, he hasn't shown much in the UFC. But he does a good job getting back to his feet, getting his back against the cage, standing back up. He is a warrior. He continues to come forward until the bitter end. He needs to constantly close the distance here, go for takedowns, make it a grinding fight. And if he's forced to hang around on the outside with Jackson, he's going to be in for a long night. And I'm going to go with Montel Jackson here, and I'm pretty confident in this pick. Kelleher, I don't think he's going to be able to take Jackson down in space. And I believe he's going to have to try to pressure him to the cage and then try to take him down against the cage. And I just think Jackson's a better clinch fighter. I think Jackson's going to have a major speed and reach advantage, and I see him cutting off Kelleher with punches as he tries to close the distance. I see him throwing a lot of leg kicks, and I see Kelleher eventually getting desperate with takedown attempts, close the distance crudely, and I see Jackson timing a knee, landing it on Kelleher, and I see him finishing with some ground and pound. So I'm actually going to pick Montel Jackson via 3rd round TKO finish, and I think he's going to kind of announce himself as a future star here with a big win over Brian Kelleher. And up next we have Adam Weizerick taking on Marcus Rogerio de Lima. And Weizerick's taking this fight on very short notice. And this is a dangerous fight in my opinion for Adam Weizerick to be taking on short notice. I mean, I don't know if he's thinking that he's taking on a former light heavyweight. He's going to be much bigger. He's going to go in there and beat this guy down. I mean, he's a big favorite. So I mean, maybe that's what the bookies think too. But to me, he's a big, lengthy heavyweight, but his striking's pretty rudimentary. He gets backed up against the cage way too easily. He doesn't use his reach or striking, very much. He doesn't throw a jab. He's not very quick. I think that he doesn't like to throw strikes out there, punches, because I think that he's scared of the return. But he does have very good movement. He's able to move around for all 3 rounds and kind of stick and move, throw kicks. And I think that, in space, if he can keep him at the end of his shots, he's going to have a shot here. He was doing a better, I just think that, I don't know. I just don't know if he has enough here on the feet to keep a guy like this off him, like Payzal. But, he tries to throw front kicks to the body, leg kicks. And, he does have a good guard. That's probably his main thing. And on the feet, he definitely has a speed in the kicks. He'll attack with head kicks. He has some pretty good hooks. But he keeps his left hand very low. He doesn't feint or fake much. And, when he starts the engagements, he just pulls out his jab. But his hands aren't very good. He uses them kind of as rangefinders for his kicks. And I think that could get him in trouble here, because I think Peizau's going to be chopping on that lead leg. And I think that when Adam tries to throw that sloppy paw-on jab, I think that Peizau's going to come over the top with hooks. And Peizau is extremely dangerous in the first round, but I do think that Adam is kind of a tricky guy. I think that he's the type of guy that'll flop to his back, try to get fighters to engage with him on the ground, get in his guard, and then try to find a submission. You saw his last fight where he got a omoplata on Arce, so that's something that you have to look out for if you're Rogerio de Lima. But Rogerio de Lima is a powerhouse, man. He's very quick and explosive. He throws with full power, nasty leg kicks, strong body kicks, very quick in the pocket. I think he's going to be even quicker for heavyweight. Throws wild hooks, wild overhands, throws everything with fight-ending intentions. Definitely walks his opponents down, keeps very heavy pressure in round one. All his UFC wins are first-round finishes. And, he'll start super fast, then slow down as the fight goes on. And he's mainly a first-rounder bust finisher at 205. But coming up to heavyweight, maybe without the weight cut, you'll be able to last a little bit longer. But, he definitely has major power. 11 wins by KO, TKO. And good takedown defense, strong hips, a great sprawl. And, he's very good in the dirty boxing range. He can land big shots in close. And, really what he can get taken out off is off-caught kicks. But if he works on top, if he gets on top as well, he can unload with big shots. And, to be honest, I'm going to go with the upset here, man. I'm going with Marcos Rogerio de Lima to knock out Adam Weizerk in the first round. And I think that he's going to drop him. Weizerk's going to feel like he's maybe a little bit safer in his guard than he believes he is. And I think Rogerio's going to get down there and he's going to fucking pound him out, man. I think it's going to be a pretty brutal finish. And I think Peizau is going to get a big win in his first fight at heavyweight. So I think it's going to be a big win for Peizau. And also this fight for Adam is on very short notice, like 10 days notice. And that could definitely be a factor as well. And I'm next to Jason Knight against Jordan Rinaldi, in which, it was a closer fight once I started taping it. I thought maybe that it was going to be Jason Knight all day. But after watching these tape, I'm a little bit less convinced. Jordan Rinaldi been making the drop to 145 pounds. And I feel he can make the weight safely. He has a good frame for the division. And I think he's a well-rounded fighter. Good striking, good jiu-jitsu. Pretty fast, good in-and-out movement. He has a nice jab, good straight right hand. He likes to explode in with one-shot attacks, such as lead knees, uppercuts, front kicks to the body. He has nice head kicks. And overall fluid kicking technique. He will throw an occasional 1-2, some leg kicks. And he does a great job using his strikes to set up single and double leg takedowns. He has solid lateral movement, but when he gets blitzed heavy, he tends to back straight up. He can be hit clean. He does have a solid chin. He's only been finished via strikes one time in his career. And he does possess, some okay power, but he only has one KO, TKO finish in his career. So definitely not fight-ending power. And he isn't a great wrestler. And he's gotten out-wrestled in 2 of his 3 UFC losses. But he does have good ground game. He's a jiu-jitsu brown belt. He has an active guard, strong arm bars, decent triangles. He will attack with leg locks to sweep to top position. He does a good job of not taking a ton of damage in his guard. He did get his guard pass easily in his last match against Gregor Gillespie, and he was dominated on the ground. But Gillespie is one of the best wrestlers in college history, and I doubt that many fighters have the level of top game that Gillespie has. And Rinaldi does have good takedowns himself. He does a good job setting up single legs. He has decent double legs. On top, he likes to work to the back, where he has a pretty good rear naked choke. Good top control. He does a good job winning scrambles, staying on top. He has 8 submissions, and he has a large array of submissions. 4 rear naked chokes, 2 arm bars. He even has an inverted triangle, a key lock, a Von Flue choke. So definitely has some variation there. He has a solid cardio as well, and he's fought some solid competition over his career. So he's definitely not, shy to fighting these names, these big-time guys. And Rinaldi should look to try to keep this fight on the feet, start rounds, and try to use his volume, striking game to outwork Knight, and keep him at the end of his shots. And then he should look for takedowns at the end of the rounds to seal off the rounds. But he needs to be careful on the mat, because Jason Knight's very tricky there. And Jason Knight's had a rough patch. He's had a promising start to his career. He started 4-1, but he's lost 3 consecutive fights. Now he's 4-4. But he's an action fighter. He always comes to scrap. He brings a show. He's going to be training at Team Alpha Male for this camp. He said he's trying to turn into a more cerebral fighter. And, it could be beneficial to him. And he has a good jab. He has nice oblique kicks. Throws low leg kicks. He has a lot of volume. He'll walk forward, throw a lot of front kicks to the body, throw the occasional round kick to the head as well. Nice 1-2, good straight right hand. He's probably his most powerful punch. He does a good job landing nice uppercuts at the end of his hook combinations, and he's able to catch a drop of Mirkani with that shot twice. And he has great cardio, very good pressure. He breaks fighters with volume as the fight goes on. He loves to throw down. He'll continue to walk forward even if he's rocked or he's bloodied. He likes to talk shit. He'll try to goad fighters into wars. He's shown a great chin over his career. He's only been finished via strikes one time. But he was dropped by Mirkani. He was finished pretty viciously by Ricardo Lamas. And his chin may be going a little bit. He does have decent power himself, but he's definitely more dangerous to submissions. He only has 3 TKO finishes. He's very slick on the ground. He isn't the best wrestler, but he will shoot for doubles and singles. He's a relentless wrestler, and he finally usually gets the fight to the ground at some point. And if he can't get it to the ground, he's dangerous with chokes. He has very good ground and pound. He doesn't have good takedown defense, but he's very confident in his guard. His fight IQ was lacking a little bit in his last match, in my opinion. He kept pulling guard after rocking Mirkani, and even pulled guard after he dropped him. But he has awesome rubber guard. He has good elbows. He has a good omoplata, good triangle. He'll roll for knee bars and leg locks. He's no problem being on bottom. 13 submissions, and you have to be careful with him on the mat. You know, he's never been submitted himself, and his back is against the wall here. He has 3 consecutive losses. He needs a win to keep his spot in the UFC, and Knight needs to make this a chaotic fight. He needs to make Rinaldi uncomfortable, and if Knight can get inside, close the distance, land big shots, take Rinaldi down, he should, be able to tire him out, look for the finish late. And Knight's a blood and guts fighter, and I feel he knows he needs to win here, and he's going to give it his all. And I'm going to go with Jason Knight. I think that he's going to be able to be the quicker guy on the feet, and I think that he's going to have to use that to get inside. And if he sticks around on the outside, just play a king game with Rinaldi, I think Rinaldi has a good chance of winning. But if Knight closes distance, makes it an ugly fight, uses grappling, just gets Rinaldi working hard in there, I think he could possibly break him. You know, very similar to the Chaz Skelly fight. And so I'm going to go with Jason Knight to get the victory in that one. And up next here is Shane Burgos against Kurt Holobaugh. And, you know, this is one of the best fights on the card, in my opinion. This is a sleeper fight of the night. And, Shane Burgos, he's a great prospect. He's a slick striker out of Tiger Shulman. There's a lot of Tiger Shulman guys on this card. And, he lost his first career fight in his last fight by KO against Calvin Kattar. So he's going to be looking to bounce back here. And he has a nice jab, good overhand right. He does keep his hands low, but he has a good head movement. He will slip and return with counters. He does a good job rolling with shots, but he was getting hit clean with straight punches and jabs in his last match. He does have nasty hooks, and he has a constant forward pressure. He wears his opponents down. Decent inside leg kicks, good front kicks to the body. But he doesn't throw many kicks. He likes to counter with combinations in the pocket. And he does a good job making opponents pay for throwing punches. He has a very clean lead uppercut. His cardio is fantastic, and he simply doesn't get tired. He has shown a great chin throughout his career. He really relies on it with his style, but he didn't get knocked out for the first time in his last fight, so we have to see how fully recovered he is. And he is an offensive wrestler. He won't really engage much in the grappling. He does a good job reading level changes, lowering his level to defend him. Good job lip-legging out of single legs or getting to the cage, circling out. And when he hurts his opponents, he likes to, get on top after he drops him. He'll go for the rear naked choke. But those were early in his career. He hasn't gotten a submission since 2014. 0 takedowns in the UFC, and I don't think he'll try one here. And Burgos will most likely be looking to defend the takedowns, keep it on the feet, and put the pressure on Holobaugh. I think he's going to be the cleaner striker with quicker punches. And, if he can keep it at a distance, and I think he has a good chance to win. For Kurt Holobaugh, he's had a rough go in the UFC, man. He's fought 2 tough guys. He's 0-2. He got knocked out pretty badly his last fight against Rowdy Barcelos. He's an explosive boxer wrestler, though. He has knockout power himself. He's improved his striking, he has very good footwork. He does a good job stalking his opponents to the cage, and then he'll unload with combinations. He has a nice jab, and he will explode with hook combinations for sure. He'll use his jab to a check left hook, and then he also has a very nice 1-2. He'll throw the inside leg kick as a rangefinder to set up those combinations. He likes to jab to the body, then come over the top of the overhand right. He'll fake a level change, then come over the top of the overhand right as well. And he will dig powerful hooks to the body. Both of these guys like to go to the body, so that's an interesting thing. They're going to be wearing on each other as the fight goes, in my opinion. And he does a great job wearing his opponents down. And he has a nice uppercut. He likes to finish with combination of body kicks, good head movement. He has a good job of, moving his head off center line. And then he can get wide with punches. And fighters are able to counter him a little bit, but he has a great chin. And he's able to eat those shots. But he was finished pretty brutally in his last match. So you have to see how that works. And he has great cardio. It keeps heavy volume out there. And he's a wall, man. He's very strong. He has good doubles, good singles. He's a good ground and pound. He isn't a very active seeker of the takedown, but he will shoot for them if he's losing the striking. And he's strong in the clinch. He likes to get the single collar, land short uppercuts. He likes to get in the clinch, circle to the back. He does a good job taking the back out of that position. And he has good overall takedown defense himself, but he can be taken down with well-timed shots. But I don't see him getting taken down in this fight or see him going for many takedowns himself, to be honest. And this fight's going to be a war. I think both guys are going to come forward and throw down. And I think Holobaugh has more power and better defense, but Burgos is faster with cleaner punches. And Holobaugh needs to try to land big shots in the pocket and land the bigger shots, because I think Burgos is going to be landing clean shots that are very obvious. So I think for Holobaugh to counter that, he needs to keep heavy volume and land some big shots that really damage Burgos and make it clearer to the judges. And I'm going to go with the upside again here. I'm going to pick Kurt Holobaugh. I think he's going to land clean on Burgos. And I don't know if Burgos is going to be able to take it either. I think he could potentially drop him. And both grinders have great cardio, love to attack to the body. So I think it's going to be a back-and-forth battle. But I'm going to pick the upset. I'm going to say Kurt Holobaugh gets the decision victory in this one. And up next we have Shaman Bryce against Julio Arce. And, this is a fun fight. Julio Arce has been pretty active since joining the UFC. He's another guy out of Team Tiger Schulman. So here's another fighter out of that camp. And he jumped onto the scene. He's 2-0 with two pretty brilliant performances. And he is a pretty crisp boxer. He's, very composed, professional fighter. He keeps a steady work rate. And he gets better as the fight goes on. He has a very nice jab. He'll double and triple up on it. He'll go to the body with it. He has nice round kicks to the body. He has nice head kicks, nice front kicks. He's a nasty one, too, right down the pipe. He does a great job skipping in with the jab, following with the straight left. Great composure in there. He has the ability to weather a storm, come back, and take over. He has great footwork, both forwards and backwards. He's very defensively sound. And when he sees his opponents wilting, he's very fast. He cuts the cage off a jab, straight right, straight left hands, and he really goes for the finish. He really puts a lot of pressure on guys. He's extremely coachable, and he'll listen to his quarters instructions in between rounds and fall into a T. And he doesn't have one-punch knockout power, but he is a volume guy. And he only has 4 knockouts in his career, but I definitely think that he wears guys down with striking. We've seen his last 2 fights, and then he'll submit them. And he has a great chin. He's never been finished via strikes. He's taken some big shots. And he's fought some good guys, like Daniel Tabor. He fought a pretty athletic guy, Peter Petty's, on the show. He fought Dan Ige. He's a great wrestler. So he's definitely fought some decent fighters. And Arce is an offensive grappler. He won't look for many takedowns, but he does a good job catching kicks, taking fighters down. He will grab the single collar clinch when fighters get too close and then throw nice uppercuts. And he has slick on the ground. He works quickly. He loves to take the back. He'll get the body try. He has very good back control. He has 5 rear naked chokes. He does a good job sliding the arm under the neck. He has great takedown defense. He's yet to be taken down in the UFC. And like I said, he fought a good wrestler, Dan Ige, and he defended all 12 of his takedowns. He has phenomenal cardio. He picks up as the fight goes on. He loves to fight. He's very calm in the octagon. He'll be coming in here with major confidence. And I think that he's going to put on a good performance. And Shaman Bryce is a big, scary Brazilian Muay Thai striker. He got a split decision win in his last fight. And I actually thought he lost against Matt Sales, but he has a nice jab, solid right hook. He likes to dig to the body with that hook and then come over the top with straight right hand and straight hooks to the head. He has a nasty round kick both to the head and to the body. Big power on it. He throws nice standing elbows with both hands. And overall, he's a dangerous guy. He isn't very high output. He can get out-volumed over 3 rounds, but he does do a decent job walking his opponents down, controlling the center, and counter-punching. He is a bit flat-footed. He slows as the fight goes on for sure. But he has big power, and he has 5 knockouts in his 10 wins. He isn't a wrestler, and he's actually a pretty bad wrestler, but he's good in the clinch. He has solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He does a good job landing knees to the body, short elbows, strong clinch knees in the Muay Thai clinch. And he has average takedown defense, but he can be taken down. He's pretty good off his back. He has good triangles, leg locks. Does a good job sweeping in top position. He's pretty dangerous. He has good ground and pound. He's never had any submissions, and he's been submitted to both of his losses, so definitely something to look at there. And he needs to finish this fight quickly. In my opinion, he needs to start fast and try to land a big shot or kick and put Arce out. I think Bryce slows as the fight goes on, and I think Arce is going to pick it up after round 1 for sure. And I'm going to go with Julio Arce here. I think that he has very good hands. He's much cleaner with higher output than Bryce. And I think Bryce tries to land big, explosive combinations. And they get more and more obvious as the fight goes on. I see Arce being careful early, reading Bryce, When he finds his distance and he gets Rice's timing, I see him start to turn it on. And I think he's going to hurt him on the feet, drop him, and then submit him with the rear naked choke. Late in round 2, early in round 3. And I'm going with Julio Arce to get the victory here. And up next we have Carl Roberson fighting Jack Marshman. This is a fun fight. You know, both these guys are going to stand up. They're going to fight. And Carl Roberson's coming off his first pro loss via submission. And Jack Marshman was submitted as well in his last match for the first time in his career. So Roberson, he's a former glory kickboxer. He's a very powerful striker. He said in his interview that with James Lynch that he feels very overlooked. He wants to make a statement here and just prove that he's a future prospect in the division. But he's a southpaw. He has all the usual southpaw techniques. He has straight left hands, liver kicks, and he likes to counterpunch. Lure fighters into his range where he can land a hard shot. Definitely has one-punch power. He has very strong leg kicks. He'll go high with the kick as well. Very heavy kicks. He has a great straight left hand uppercut combo, and he's very big for the weight class. And he's always measuring his fighters, and you can tell it makes opponents nervous. Darren Stewart was using a lot of spinning techniques, close the distance immediately and get in the clinch. And Ryan Spann shot for a very sloppy takedown less than 5 seconds in. So guys don't want to be on the outside with this guy. He's very fast. He's very pinpoint. Definitely can end the fight with one shot. And he's a tough guy. I've seen him drop badly in kickboxing twice in a round, get up, press forward, and survive. He does seem susceptible to body kicks, and I've seen him hurt with them, but in kickboxing, not MMA. He's never been finished by strikes. He has 2 KO TKOs and his 6 wins. And he's a strong athlete. He's a proven grappler. He's trained with guys like David Branch, Corey Anderson, and he's really trying to round out his game. He's very dangerous in short range. He has huge power in his clinch elbows. You saw that with his quick finish against Ryan Spann. He's very good at defending body locks. He showed nice awareness in that position, landing a big throw when Stewart got off balance, Darren Stewart in their fight. And he was taken down by a one-time shot against Muntache, but Muntache has some of the best time takedowns in the UFC. And off his back, he didn't really show much. He wasn't able to get up, and Muntache was able to pass in a dominant position. He eventually got the arm triangle. But on top, he's very good. He has brutal ground and pound. He's quick with his back takes and rear naked chokes. He does slow down as the fight goes on, but not majorly. He's always dangerous. And he's still very young in his career. I expect him to look much better this time out than last. And I expect him to have a big speed advantage in the tighter, cleaner punches. But he still needs to be careful with Marshman's power. And Marshman's dangerous, especially in round 1. And I think Roberson should look to be careful early, like you said, but eventually start to pick off Marshman and open up with big shots and try to get him out of there. And for Jack Marshman, he's a tough, gritty striker. He has big power. He likes to use a lot of fades, fakes. He'll stutter step movements and disguise entries, then he'll explode forward. He has good head movement when he's close to the distance, but when he throws his punches, he stops through with his head. He's able to be hit, but he will throw full power overheads and hooks. He makes him very dangerous at close range. Has fast hands. You'll throw 3 or 4 shots at a time. He does have good footwork. He does a good job cutting off the cage, stalking his opponents. He throws nice jabs, good straight punches. He'll close this with a nice lead uppercut. He will throw straight punches and hooks to the body, and he's much better when he's going forward. And when he starts to get tired, push back, he's much less effective. He'll rarely throw kicks, and he's only thrown a few leg kicks in fights. But he has been finished 4 times, but he's a tough guy. His chin is pretty good. He has 13 KO TKOs. He can definitely finish the fight with one shot himself. And he's not a grappler. He's a poor wrestler. He's very bad takedown defense. He's 17% takedown defense in the UFC. He gets taken down very easily with double legs. He is tough. He's only been submitted 1 time, but he can be grinded out. He does have a few submissions off his back, like arm bars and triangles, but those were a long time ago versus regional level competition. He doesn't go for takedown himself or try to get in the clinch, and if he hurts you, he will get on top and go for a submission. He has a few submission victories. He definitely slowed down as well as the fight goes on, but he's definitely still dangerous throughout the whole fight. And he's a veteran, and I think Marshall will not change much. I see him trying to walk down Roberson using fakes and feints and trying to land his hard hooks or overhands. And if he can land clean, he can knock anyone out. He's a veteran. He's more experienced fighting in war. So if it gets there, maybe he can pull something out. But I think a smart game plan for Roberson would be to take down Marshman early in round 1. Try to get the finish with a submission. And I think even if he can't get the finish, it'll take a little bit out of Marshman, make him a little bit less dangerous, a little bit less powerful. And I think it'll make the speed advantage more pronounced. And I think that he'll take down Roberson early or Marshman early with a double leg. And if he doesn't finish, I think that in round 2 he's going to land a straight left hand on a tired Marshman and get the knockout victory. So either way, I think Carl Roberson will get the finish either in round 1 or round 2. And that's what I'm going with, Carl Roberson. That's one of my most confident picks of the night there. And I'm actually at Matt Frivola against Lando Vannata, another fight that I'm pretty confident in. And Vannata a couple years ago would be an overwhelming favorite in this fight, but he's lost 2 consecutive fights with a draw mixed in, so he's trending in the wrong direction. Matt Frevola came into the UFC with a 6-0 record, but he was still very raw. He got exposed a little bit in that fight, losing by first round KO. And Frevola is very aggressive. He likes to walk his opponents down, throw hard hooks. He has a good straight right hand. He'll double up on it. Then he'll shoot a single or double leg. He likes to throw a kick to the body, then a straight right hand combo. He has decent head movement, but he drops his hand after he throws. He can get hit clean. He also is not the most athletic fighter. His hand speed is not up to par with UFC level, or Vannata for that matter. He doesn't have huge power. He just has 1 KO finish in his career. And he got finished badly in his last match, so we have to monitor how his chin is moving forward. And he's a solid wrestler. He does a good job setting up his shots with punches. He has good doubles and singles, especially when he has fighters against the cage. He'll go for takedowns right away to start a round if he feels you're weak in there in the previous round. Because does a good job keeping the pressure on fighters, grinding them out. He seems to not be very good in the jiu-jitsu round, but in the Dana White Contender Series fight, he was swept multiple times. He was threatened with an armbar. But he does have good chokes. He's able to get different variations of chokes, such as anacondas, guillotines. He has good cardio. He comes in shape, ready to stay in an opponent's face. And he's going to need to wrestle against Vannata. He can't stay at distance for long because he's going to be in constant danger there, in my opinion. Needs to close the distance quickly and try to grind him out. And for Vannata, he's a very immensely talented fighter. He just didn't show up in his most recent fight. He's been in 2 major wars in the UFC with Tony Ferguson and Bobby Green. And you have to wonder if that's taking a toll on his body, but, his mind as well. And I heard a recent interview with James Lynch that Vannata started using a mental coach heading into this fight, and his last fight he was saying was all mental, so maybe it is a little bit mental and he's maybe trying to figure it out. But he's a long-time staple of the Jackson Week Camp. He's a dynamic striker with good wrestling. He has tremendous movement. He's very flowy. He's hard to time, constantly faking and fading, trying to keep you thinking. He'll keep his hands low, use very good head movement to avoid shots. He comes back with counters, very crisp punches, nice combinations. He has really nice kicks. He'll throw Sanchez kicks, spinning heel kicks. He's extremely fluid with his kicks. You saw that with his KO of John McDessie. He has nice leg kicks, good spinning back fist. His chin is solid. He's never been finished with strikes in his career. He's been in some wars, so he definitely showed that he has a good chin. He has 4 KO TKOs himself. He's a former wrestler. He'll shoot some takedowns, but he doesn't have great finishing ability after he gets you to the ground. Most fighters are able to stand back up. He is extremely fast. He's athletic. He'll dart in and out. He makes it hard for opponents to find their range. And he's very hard to hold down, even if you can take him down. Tabor took him down a couple times, but he couldn't hold him down. And I don't see him shoot takedowns at all in this matchup. And I see him trying to use his wrestling reverse, keep it on the feet. He has gotten a few submissions as a rear naked chokes, heel hooks, arm triangles, so he has some variation there. But he was grinded out in the clinch in his last fight. But that was one of the better clinch fighters in the division, and Jakar Close. And Vannata should look to keep the distance, try to pull Frevola into his shots, counter, and probably landed to set up a one-shot knockout. He can land a one-shot knockout with kicks or with punches, and I think he can land one in this fight with a very flashy finish, potentially. And I think this is Vannata's fight all day. He's a better athlete, he's a better striker, and maybe even the better grappler, to be honest. If Vannata can keep this fight in space, he's just striking, he should knock Frevola out cold, in my opinion. My pick is Lando Vannata by second round KO, so I'm going to go with Lando Vannata in that one. And up next, we have Lima Good against Ben Saunders. And Ben Saunders taking this fight on short notice against Lima Good. It's an interesting fight because Lima Good's returning from a USADA suspension over a 2-year layoff. But he's a slick striker. He's a strong athlete. He has a nice jab, very accurate straight right hand. He's another one of these Tiger Shoma guys. He does a good job slipping punches, returning with counter hooks in the pocket. Nice hard leg kicks. And his footwork and forward pressure are very good. He does a great job cutting off his opponents, not chasing, always keeping him on the back foot. Great job digging hooks to the body. Very good defensive tendencies. He always keeps a high guard, good head movement. But his last fight against Zaleski dos Santos, he was a little bit hesitant to get in the pocket. He even told his corner that he was scared of being knocked out. So he may be a guy who, maybe thinks a little bit too much in there, and he might not fully go for it at times. But he has a great chin. He's never been finished with punches. And his punches are extremely clean and accurate. He has big power. He has 9 KO, TKO wins. And he is an active seeker in the takedown, but he's a strong fighter. He has very good takedown defense. Does a great job getting the clinch, landing hard knees to the body. He also has hard hooks in the clinch. He's very hard to take down. Like I said, he has great balance, great hips. Good job lip legging out of singles, sprawling on double legs. He has an 86% takedown defense rate in the UFC. And Ben Askren's really the only fighter that I've seen take him down and hold him down continuously. He has 3 rear naked chokes, but he isn't a big submission threat. He has good cardio, has the ability to push raw rounds. He's going to be the cleaner striker. He's going to want to strike from the outside. He should look to keep his jab at Saunders' face, try to pull him into a straight overhand right and knock him out, to be honest. And Ben Saunders is back again. He's coming back very quickly after a loss to Sergio Moraes. And he's been extremely active in 2018. This is his third fight in 5 months. And Saunders is a long fighter. He likes to throw a lot of straight punches, kicks from the outside. He'll throw front kicks, head kicks. But he doesn't set his kicks up very well. People are able to close distance on him. He's a good right hook, good straight right hand as well. He does a good job walking opponents down, keeping heavy pressure. But he can't do a lot of reaching, trying to grab for the tie clinch. He can get hit with the overhands, which is one of good specialties. And his chin is going. He get rocked even with smaller shots. He does have an iron will. You really have to put him out to finish the fight. He isn't a knockout artist, but he has 9 knockouts in his career. So definitely is dangerous. And he has been finished with strikes 6 times and, 3 times in his last 8 fights. So, and Saunders likes to get the Muay Thai plum clinch, throw elbows, knees to the head and to the body. He's able to catch Jake Ellenberger there with a nice knee to the body. He finished him. He does a good job digging one underhook, then landing knees to the body. He tries to get the clinch, get the body lock takedown, but he doesn't have good wrestling. He only has 2 takedowns in his entire UFC career. He does have solid takedown defense. He's hard to get down, and if you do get him down, he's a good rubber guard. He's one of the only omoplata victories in UFC history. But he can't get his guard pass. He can't be neutralized on top with heavy pressure. We saw that Patrick O'Tay. Moraes was able to methodically pass his guard and submit him. And to me, Saunders cannot fight in space in this matchup. He needs to get the clinch, grind this fight out. If he can safely close the distance, he has the ability to catch good with a big shot and clinch and hurt him, then that's something he should try to do. But I think this is a great matchup for Lima Good. Good is a very crisp boxer, and his hand speed and just pure fluidity are at a different level than Saunders. Good also has nasty leg kicks, and I feel Saunders is susceptible to kicks. Good should be able to keep his jab in Saunders' face, see Saunders' shots coming, slip counter, and I eventually think he's going to find a clean shot that puts Ben Saunders out. Good isn't someone that gets tired, even in wars, and I just don't see many paths to victory for Ben Saunders. Lima Good should cruise in this fight. I think he's going to get a second round knockout. This is also a short notice fight for Ben Saunders, so that's something to take into account. And up next you have Derek Brunson against Israel Adesanya in a pretty big grudge match. These guys have been talking shit for months. This is probably one of the first fights announced for this card, so it's been built up for a long time now. And Adesanya, he's trying to jump into contendership off of Brunson's name, and Brunson's trying to steal all the hype out of Adesanya, so both guys have a lot to win here. And Brunson's a big striker. He's explosive. He's an explosive athlete. He has one-punch knockout power. He's extremely dangerous in that first round. He comes hard. He blitzes. He throws huge overhand rights. Will throw left hand as well, left hooks. He almost attacks with reckless abandon, which has got him in a ton of first-round finishes, but it's also got him in trouble against the elite in the division. He will throw occasional leg kicks, front snap kicks. He tries to gauge the distance with the jab, but he sometimes doesn't set things up. He'll just lunge in. He'll keep his chin high. But he does do a good job faking level changes in between blitz combinations. It makes him a little harder to read. He does have fast hands in the pocket. He'll throw straight punches with both hands. Definitely throws it with bad intentions. And when he has a fighter hurt, he really will swarm. He'll go for the finish. And he has big power. He has 10 knockouts, but all of them are in first round. And after that, he slows down. He does have a solid chin, but bad defense. He enters the pocket with his chin high, hands low. Makes him an easy target. He's been finished 4 times in his career. He was finished via head kick in his last matchup versus Jacare. And he's getting older, man. And he's a former wrestler. He's a 2-time Division I All-American. Division II All-American, excuse me. But he's become more of a striker of late. I imagine he's going to have a heavy wrestling game plan in this one. So we're going to see if he's going to be able to go back to his roots. He likes to close the distance, get the single collar where he's pretty strong. He'll land some nice uppercuts, short hooks in that range. He has pretty fast hands. He can throw a combination. It makes him a dangerous opponent. And, he likes the Muay Thai plum. He has decent double legs. But he telegraphs that he shoots from too far outside at times. And when he does get it on the legs, he's hard to stop from taking you down. He's a strong guy. Good job grabbing the single leg, then going up to the body lock clinch, driving his opponent to the cage, then going for the double leg. But Anderson Silva is able to defend a lot of his takedowns. And I don't think he's an elite level wrestler. But if he can't get on top, he has solid ground and pound. He likes to get to the back at the rear naked choke. But he's a huge submission threat. He's never been submitted himself, and he does get tired as the fight goes on. And 21 of his 26 fights have been finished in round 1. He's 3-2 in decisions. He's been finished in round 3 by Yoel Romero in his other fight. And Brunson didn't look to use his good footwork, or he doesn't really have good footwork, but this is what I think he should try to do. I think he should try to use footwork, cut off the cage, but not be too wild. Just some more composure out there. Use some basic techniques to get into the clinch, and then try to land a straight right hand or jab. Back Adesanya up to the cage, then close the distance, get the clinch, take him down. But I don't see him doing that. I just think it's a smart game plan, but I don't think you should look to shoot many doubles in space, especially early, because I don't see him getting them and just tiring himself out. If you can get Adesanya backing up, he should look to get in on a single leg, move up top to the body lock, and then go for the double. And if he can get Adesanya down, he needs to do damage, wear Israel out. And he's always dangerous with one punch, so Izzy definitely has to be careful about that, but it's not likely that Brunson catches him and puts him out with one shot. I think that if Brunson can get takedowns and rest or finish on the ground in round 1 or 2, he will be, I think that, like I said, or what I'm trying to say is I think if he can't get takedowns and rest on the ground, I think that he's going to be tired just going for takedowns. But if he can land him and rest, bang 2 rounds, maybe that could be a way for him to win. But, I think Brunson has to be careful and not come charging in. And I think that overall, this is a very tough matchup for Brunson. But he is focused. I believe he's hopefully going to try to come in with a smart game plan here. But Israel Adesanya has burst onto the scene. He's 4-0. He's looking to go 4-0 in this calendar year in the company. And he's going to get his highest profile win to date over Derek Brunson. And for Adesanya, his stand-up game is on another level. He's a technician. He likes to snipe at you with single shots. He'll use a lot of great footwork, head movement. He'll move just in and out of the way of shots. Very good sliding in and out of distance. He has very good head movement, very good slipping ability. Throws nice straight shots. Finishes with hard leg kicks. He will go high with head kicks. He does a great job sliding in and out of range, always controlling distance. Nasty straight right hand, good knee to the body. He's creative with strikes as well. He'll use a cage to jump off. Those nice spinning techniques. He has great step-in knees, great left hooks to the body. He does a good job going low-high, finding openings through your guard. He doesn't really worry about loading up for hard punches. He just peppers, wears away. And he's constantly switching stances, giving opponents new looks. And he's always playing with his backhand, feinting, moving it, trying to get reactions out of his opponents. He has a great chin, and he's used to fighting against much better, more technical strikers. But he doesn't have big knockout power. He's more of a volume guy. He slowly picks at you until fighters can't take it anymore. And he's undefeated in MMA. He's extremely confident. And he won his last 2 fights via decision. He showed great cardio on both fights, one of them being a 5-rounder. And Adesanya isn't a great grappler, but you'll rarely see him ever shoot for a takedown and try to get in the clinch. But he's really improved his takedown defense. And even though he isn't super bulky or muscular, he's very strong in the clinch positions. He does a good job getting the tie clinch, landing short elbows, big knees to the head, to the body. He has great hips. He does a good job getting his back to the cage if opponents getting on his legs where he's hard to take down. He's very strong in the upper body clinch. He's hard to control there. He'll even reverse turn fighters against the cage. And he can be taken out with body locks sometimes. And when he's on his back, he does have a decent guard, but it's purely defensive. He doesn't really go for many submissions. But he does a solid job controlling posture, not taking much damage. If you take him down in the center of the cage, which is very hard to do, he doesn't really have a great get-up game. But he can't get up against the cage. He did roll for a leg lock in his last fight against Tavares. It really wasn't even close, but at least it shows he's growing. He's confident enough to try some things in the jiu-jitsu realm in a real fight. And he has a very calm demeanor, even when he's put in bad positions. If you take him down, if you get on his back, he won't panic. He knows that all he has to do is return back to his feet, and you'll be tired, and he'll be able to go heavy on you. And he has a pretty good top game from what we've seen. He does a good job of controlling his opponents, floating, staying on top. And, he has good ground and pound. And I think he has some decent chokes as well. And he's been saying that he wants to submit Brunson in this fight, so we'll see what happens. But I think Adesanya needs to respect Brunson early, try to stay on the outside, pull counter. And you have to stay on his feet early. If he could stuff takedowns, then he should be able to take over against a slowed Brunson later in the fight. I see Brunson trying to take him down. He may be successful taking him down or just controlling him a couple times in the first round. But eventually I think Adesanya will get to his feet. He'll get free. I see him starting to dig to the body with front kicks. I think Brunson's going to start to get very desperate, closing the distance. And I think he's even going to potentially start falling over himself, overextending, like he did in the Rob Whittaker fight. And I think Israel will be able to keep space from mid-round 1 on. I think he's going to start picking apart Brunson, making him look silly. And, I think he's too clean, too technical to not knock him out. So I'm going to go with Adesanya by second round knockout. And that's a fun fight, though. And up next we have Jared Cannonier against David Branch. And this is another fight that was made on short notice. David Branch was supposed to be fighting against Jacare. And Jared Cannonier was supposed to be fighting against someone else as well at 185. So, you know, Cannonier's going to be making them drop to middleweight after back-to-back losses at 205. And Cannonier's had a very interesting career. You know, with the win here, he'll have a win in 3 different weight classes in the UFC: heavyweight, light heavyweight, and middleweight. And he's replacing Jacare Souza, like I said. And David Branch is coming off a big win against Thiago Santos. And he's had 2 marquee matchups pulled out from under him, you know, recently with Yoel Romero and Jacare Souza. So I have to wonder if he's overlooking Cannonier here. Hopefully he's not. And Cannonier is a very good striker. He has big knockout power, very fast hand combinations, very good jab, good straight right hand. He has a hands-down game, a very good head movement. He's able to evade punches, come back with quick, powerful counters. He showed a good kicking game as well, but I think he should utilize kicks more once he's more comfortable with takedown defense. He has a great switch head kick, nice front kick to the face, good body kicks, good leg kicks. His kicks are very fast and powerful. And he does a good job demoralizing opponents. He'll walk him down with his hands down. He'll make him miss, counter, and it makes him shy to throw for the rest of the fight. He'll put his hands up. He'll taunt you. And he has big power. He has 5 KO, TKOs, and 10 wins. Good chin. He's willing to take punches to give punches. He has been finished via strikes 2 times. But those are against big, massive guys. And to me, you know, John Blachowicz and Dominic Reyes are 2 top 5 guys at light heavyweight. So those are his 2 losses. So he's definitely going to come out here swinging at 185 in a new weight class. He's not a great wrestler. He can be taken out pretty easily with single legs. He's stronger in the clinch than defending shots at range. He can land short elbows. He has good balance, good strength. It makes him hard to take down in that position. Like I said, Glover Teixeira was able to take him down with single legs very easily, but Dom Reyes did attempt a single leg and he stopped it, so he shows that he has been working on that defense. Maybe he's a little bit better there. He isn't very active off his back, and he isn't good at getting back up, but he does have good defense. He doesn't take much damage, but he struggles to get back to his feet. And if he can get on top of people, he is pretty dangerous. He has good ground and pound elbows, and he has a rear naked choke. He has an arm bar in his career, but he isn't really a submission threat. He has never been submitted himself, so that's good. He has great cardio, and he's had big round 3s in the UFC. So I think Cannonier should really try to use his range striking, and just try to, you know, keep this fight in the middle of the cage, stay off the warning track, and he definitely has the power to knock out anyone at 185. And for David Branch, he's taking a big risk here. He's fighting a dangerous guy that not many people know. You know, a win here would not do much for Branch, and a loss would be pretty catastrophic in my opinion. And he's 37 years old. A loss at this stage would probably almost certainly mean he'll never be a UFC champion. And he needs to come in here and make a statement. He needs to prove that he's still a force to be reckoned with. And Branch is a good boxer, wrestler. He's a long-time Renzo Gracie black belt. And he's a very underrated in my opinion. You know, he has a very good style to take decisions. He has a very nice jab, good lateral footwork, good kicks. He'll throw heavy body kicks, heavy head kicks. He'll throw the occasional leg kick. Doesn't throw as many leg kicks as I like. I wish he would throw more. He will take fake level changes, come over the top with big hooks and overhands. He has solid power. If he connects clean, he can knock you out. We saw that against Thiago Santos. He will fake the level changes as well, then come up and try to grab a single collar clinch where he'll throw nice uppercuts. And he stays safe. He doesn't put himself in much danger on the feet. He'll rarely do something stupid or divert from his game plan. He has a good chin. He's not taken much damage in his career. He's never been finished via strikes. And, you know, he's fought some heavy hitters. He's fought Anthony Rumble Johnson, Lewis Taylor, Dustin Jacoby, Teddy Holder. And he has some power himself. He has 6 fights. He's won via KO, TKO. And he's a great grappler. He's a long-time Renzo Gracie black belt. He's a very strong in the clinch positions. He likes to close the distance, get in the single collar. Then he'll dig an underhook, push his opponent to the cage. He also has great timing on double and single leg takedowns. He likes to get in the clinch against the cage, land short knees and punches. He'll grind out the fight. I've heard him talk in interviews about fighting with more emphasis on finishing lately. He said previously he didn't have faith in his striking to let it go, but he's had a breakthrough and no longer cares. He wants to believe in himself, go for it, and make himself have the best chance to potentially fight for a title as he can. And he showed that in his last 2 fights. You know, he rocked Luke Rockhold, then he finished Thiago Santos. And when he gets on top, he has good control. He's methodical with his passes. and he's always looking for submission, but he never sacrifices position. He's very methodical in that way. He has 7 submissions in his career, and he's only been submitted one time. I would be shocked if he got submitted here. He does have a lot of experience. He has great cardio. He pushes the pace, and he's been in many championship 5-round fights. I see Branch looking to move early, use his jab and kicks to let Cannonier come to him. Time a level change. They can get Cannonier down. I don't know if Cannonier will be able to stand up. Cannonier needs to use leg kicks and jab while circling, not letting Branch get inside. And Branch is going to want to back him up, clinch him up, gets the cage, take him down. We'll see if this weight class is truly good for Cannonier, if he's able to muscle out of positions he couldn't at heavyweight or light heavyweight. And in my opinion, early on, like I said, Branch should use a lot of movement, use the jab, use kicks, try to let Cannonier come to him, then, time a level change, get under on those legs, and either push him against the cage or get the takedown. But I think that as the fight goes on, I think he needs to, make himself a little bit respected in the striking range, so Cannonier isn't just walking him down the whole time. And at least get him back to the cage where he can land some hooks and then get in a clinch. But I don't think he should hang around at range much here. And ultimately, though, Branch has had a lot of experience. He's fought a lot of top guys, a lot of guys with the same similar striking, maybe not striking style, but same danger. And ultimately, I think, he knows how to implement his game. He knows how to avoid that power and make guys look bad. And I see him winning a grinding decision here over Jared Cannonier and doing the same thing here. So I'm going to go with David Branch to get the win there via decision. And up next you have Chris Weidman against Jacare Souza. And this is a very interesting fight. This is a fight that I've been looking to want to see for years. I've really been wanting to see this fight. And Weidman was expecting to fight Luke Rockhold in a rematch, but now Jacare is going to be replacing him. It's not a short notice fight for Jacare because he was going to fight David Branch on the same card, so he's going to be ready to go. But Weidman, he's had a lot of injuries recently. He's been very inactive. But I thought his last performance against Kelvin Gastelum was excellent. This will be his first fight in over a year. But he says he feels great. He's ready to get a finish in New York. And Weidman's long for the division. He's gotten better at using his reach. He'll throw out a nice jab. He has a good front kick to the body. He likes to stay at his range on his feet. He did a great job with that against Gastelum. He really was barely hit, in that fight, besides the few times that he got hit in that first round. And did a great job of just hitting, not getting hit, and being very safe in this fight. He has a nice straight right hand. He'll fake the level change, throw that, or hook with good power. He'll fake that level, come back over the top. He does a good job of cutting off the cage, flurrying. He'll throw 3 or 4 jabs and mix in some hooks and uppercuts. And he's very resilient. He got dropped badly against Kelvin Gastelum. Immediately got in on a single leg. He was able to survive. But he has taken a lot of damage. He was brutally finished by Yoel Romero, by Luke Rockhold. His finish against Mousasi I don't think was really that bad in terms of big damage. But, you have to wonder about his chin just a little bit. He has 6 KO, TKO wins. He definitely has big power. And he's a phenomenal grappler, very credentialed. He's a 2-time Division I All-American. He's a black belt. He's an ADCC gold medalist. And he has an amazing single leg. He takes down everyone with that. Very nice body locks. You'll immediately get in side control off the body locks. He does a great job. If you can't get the single, he'll stay attached. He'll come up. He'll dig underhooks. He'll chain wrestle. And once he gets on top, he has great control. He's very methodical in his approach. Slowly works to the dominant positions. He loves to get that wrestling ride or full mount. Then he tries to take the back. He has a good rear naked choke. He has good Kimuras, good arm triangles. And he's been working with John Danaher for years. He's one of the best jiu-jitsu minds in the world. And he has experience fighting against great guys, very similar styles to Jacare Souza, like guys like Damian Maia. And he couldn't really control him, but he didn't get in any danger when he took Maia down. Never got swept. Never was in any submission threat, and he's never been submitted. He has 4 submissions himself. Great takedown defense. The only fighter who really exploited him on the ground is Luke Rockhold, and Luke Rockhold is one of the best top games in MMA history. And Weidman has good cardio. He does slow down, but he's used to fighting in championship fights. He's a good job at persevering, and when 2 guys are tired, he does a good job of pulling it out in that 3rd round or in the 5th round, and he has that championship medal, And I think Weidman should look to keep his distance, land his jabs, front kicks, keep ranging, and use late takedowns to seal rounds. And for Jacare, he's trying to bounce back from a tough loss against Kelvin in Brazil. He's a very physical, strong middleweight. He slowly walks guys down. He doesn't use a lot of lateral movement or footwork, but he just tries to walk you down, plod forward, land hard shots, and eventually grab a hold of you. He likes to really sit down on his right hook, put a lot of power into it. He will lunge into hooks close distance, get in the clinch. He has big power. he's a little stiff. He's plodding. He comes forward with very little combinations. He'll only throw, a front kick to the body or a left hand or a right hook. He has very powerful kicks. Even if he lands on the guard, he could stun you. We saw that against Derek Brunson. He knocked him out with the head kick. He's not the fastest guy on the feet, and that's been exploited in his last 2 fights especially. His last fight, he did an excellent job bringing heavy pressure. Even after he got dropped, he showed great heart. He kept pushing forward, throwing his all into all of his shots. It was hard to see how much power he had left after that first round because the shots didn't really seem to affect Gastelum, but he was landing some clean shots. And, he definitely has a good chin. He showed it in his last fight, but he's taken a ton of damage in those 2 fights, especially the fight against Robert Whittaker. And at 38 years old, you have to wonder, how much of a toll those 2 fights have taken on him. And he has 6 knockouts himself, so he definitely has some big power. And he's one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in MMA history. He actually is a pretty strong wrestler as well. Strong double legs, especially against the cage. He does a good job setting it up with the overhand right. He likes to get in the clinch. He's very strong there. He's nice trips, good judo throws. Very good takedown defense himself, but isn't tested very much as fighters are hesitant to go to the ground with him. And Souza has one of the best top games in the sport. Very good passing ability. Moves through opponent's guards like butter, really. He likes to move to the half guard. He'll look for arm triangles. He has good side control. He'll look for Kimura's in that position. Great back takes. Great back control. If he gets on top, usually opponents are not going to get up. His cardio is questionable. He's been getting very tired lately, especially if he can't get takedowns. And in my opinion, Jacare needs to close the distance in this fight, keep heavy pressure on Weidman. Even if he isn't effective with takedowns, I think he should try to use them to create striking opportunities. And Jacare needs to be always moving forward, throwing hard hooks, overhand, level changing, coming back over the top with knees, and just trying to make Chris move backwards, land on that chin. And I don't think he'll be effective in trying to take Weidman down very often, but he has a better chance of landing a shot and knocking him out if he could try to fake takedowns into that or use takedowns to land shots like knees and short punches. And he was using very heavy forward pressure in his last fight. He had no fear of being taken down. He was able to land shots, keep coming, moving backwards, and use that heavy, super heavy pressure. And because of that, that's why I think Weidman should try to land single legs and make Jacare stop that forward pressure. And if you could put Jacare on his back, if Jacare could find a submission off his back, that would be very impressive. But Weidman should be safe there, in my opinion. And I think he should try to get that single leg early, even if he can't keep control of Jacare, or even if he has to just stand back up after he lands it. It's going to give him, a better chance to land that fake level change right hand. And if he can start to land that right hand, it really opens up all his boxing combinations. And that's when he starts to be able to go forward and put Jacare on that back foot. If he can start to do that, he can definitely start to hit him a lot easier. And Weidman should be able to win this fight, man. But he just needs to be safe on the feet. And then he needs to be able to get takedowns when Jacare pushes forward and be safe on the ground. And I'm going to take Chris Weidman by decision. I think he's going to be able to control distance and take down Jacare when he gets too over-aggressive. And I think he's going to be able to stay safe on the ground. Even if he just has to stand back up and take him down over and over, I see him doing that. I don't see Weidman getting submitted. And Weidman's hungry. He wants a title shot. He's in the prime of his career at 33. I think Jacare's passed a little bit. He's still a beast. He's still extremely dangerous. But I think if it gets to if 2 guys won it in the last 1 minute in the 3rd round, I think Weidman's going to be the guy that pushes harder in that potential situation. So I'm going to go with Chris Weidman to win a decision here and to defeat Jacare Souza. And up next we have Daniel Cormier against Derek Lewis. And, this is an interesting fight. A lot of people are counting out Derek Lewis again. Derek Lewis has been a heavy underdog. I mean, more than 2-1 in his last 2 fights. And he's came through with the victories, and he kind of took victory out of the jaw defeat in his last fight with the knockout with like 11 seconds left. So he's always dangerous. He always has that one-punch knockout ability. And, he's an entertaining guy, and he got this fight kind of because of both of those things. But he's also won 9 out of his last 10 fights. He's beaten the number 1 and the number 2 contenders in his last 2 matchups. So definitely has shown his worth as well. And he's someone that's perpetually dangerous. You always have to look out for him. He always has that kind of stop and explode type style like a Yoel Romero. And he has some interesting factors that he brings into this fight with Daniel Cormier. He has the ability to throw head kicks as a heavyweight, which is what you don't really see that a lot. And we know that Daniel Cormier has had some trouble with that in the past. I mean, I don't think that it's extremely likely or very likely whatsoever that he's going to land a head kick, but he has that factor there. And he also, does a great job of bellying down, standing up, or just bench pressing guys off of him. And he's going to have a major size advantage here against and reach advantage here against Daniel Cormier. So if he's able to just stand up off bottom on Cormier like he's been able to do against other very good grapplers like Gabe Gonzaga, people like that who are just bears, Roy Nelson, he's a black belt, that I think that he could maybe, cause some problems for Daniel, but I don't know. I mean, it's very hard for you to imagine a victory here for DC, for Derek Lewis. It's obviously going to have to be a one-shot and done type thing. And Daniel Cormier, in my opinion, if Derek Lewis is going to be moving backwards, I think Daniel Cormier is going to win this fight all day. Daniel Cormier, once he starts to get his jab going, then he can start to throw his overhands, his hooks, definitely his big power. He's a pretty good boxer, man. He's an underrated striker. And, I just think that, I don't know, I think that Derek Lewis, I think this is a fun story for him. It's a fun fight, but it's just a little bit too much, and I'm going to go with, I think DC's going to be able to start wearing on him actually on the feet early, man. I think that he's going to get inside, throw his jab, come over the top, and I think that he has to be very careful, because obviously if he gets hit once, it could be the end of the night for him. And how crazy would it be if Derek Lewis became the champion? I mean, that would be pretty epic, and but I just think that DC is way too much for him. I think DC is going to be able to, kind of get him tired, get him moving backwards. I actually think he's going to be able to knock him out, man, on the feet. And, or, take him down and submit him. I heard him talk about how he thinks he could potentially be able to get an armbar in those scenarios where, where, Derek Lewis is trying to bench press guys off of me so that he feels like he could potentially get an armbar in that scenario. So, I mean, that's maybe something that he'll be looking to get. And, yeah, I mean, I think that Derek Lewis, he'll win via third round TKO. So I'm going to go with Daniel Cormier in that one. And for the parlay of the week, I'm going to say to go with a parlay of Israel Adesanya and Carl Roberson. I think that's a very safe play. I think that is a very good chance of hitting. And another guy that I like a lot for this weekend is Montel Jackson. I have, a pretty good bet on Montel Jackson, and I think that he's in a very good spot here to get the win. And, I just feel that he's in a good spot. I think that he's going to be able to get the victory there in that fight. I also, like I said, I have a few upset picks that I think that are pretty good. I think that Kurt Holobaugh is a very live dog. I think that, guys like, I'm trying to think potentially who could be a live dog. Guys like Jordan Rinaldi, Marcus Rosario de Lima. Roxanne Modafferi, I do think Sajara should be a pretty sizable favorite in that fight. I don't think that Roxanne has a great chance of victory there. But, who knows? I mean, stranger things have happened, and I think that Lando Vannata, I just don't see many ways how this Matt Frevola guy will be able to get the victory against Lando. But, if he does, props to him, that'd be a big-time win for him. But, I think the Lando's a pretty safe pick here. I also think that, first round finish for Rosario de Lima, and or after, if you get a live bet a fight, I think that after that first round, Adam Weiser could be a great bet, especially if Rosario de Lima has a big first round, because I just think that he'll be done after that first round, possibly. And I also think that Julio Arce via third round finish could potentially be a nice prop as well. And, Israel Adesanya has been talking about wanting to get a submission as well, so maybe that's another prop that you can look at. But we're going to be looking to hit the parlay of the week 2 weeks in a row, get another win streak going like we had earlier on in the year. And I'm going to continue to keep pumping out these videos for you, these good predictions. And we'll be back next week. And I think we have a bunch of weeks in a row, so comment, like, subscribe like you usually do. Tell your friends about it. If they want to get interested, share this on social media. And like I said, I'm still on the road for trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if any of you guys aren't subscribed, make sure to subscribe right now if you like the video. And good luck on everyone. And let's make sure that we have some fun and win some money this weekend.